The Vancouver Asian Film Festival 2016 includes a lineup of 12 films, all of which invite us to explore the interpretations and perspectives of the theme Homecoming. I'm going to chat with some of the people involved in the festival and find out what this year has in store.
My mother was the last full 100% speaking Hankaminam speaker of our community. Within our culture, it was important to know who your bloodlines were.
Why don't you give us a little rundown on what your film is all about?
So the film is called All Our Father's Relations, and it traces the journey of 4 siblings. They are elders of mixed Musqueam and Chinese ancestry, and they not only share their experiences growing up here in Vancouver on their traditional territory, but their experience going to their father's village for the first time late in their life. And it was really a privilege to go with them along with our director, Al Yoshizawa.
And I've heard that your film is nominated for Best Canadian Feature. How does that feel?
It's really exciting. I think this is such an important story and a moment for us to celebrate and recognize the long history between Chinese and First Nations communities in BC.
Our mother and our dad went through a whole lot, and yet they persevered, and their legacy lives through us and our children, and I'm so thankful for that.
11,000 transplants, 4,000 executions. Where are they getting all these organs from?
We want to make sure everyone in this detention center feel comfortable.
Leon, why don't you start off by telling us about this amazing story that you told?
Sure. The Bleeding Edge is a narrative thriller based on true events. It talks about a Western technology expert who had an emergency heart transplant in China. When he starts to discover the origin of his organ, he has to risk his life to save the next victim.
Why do you think that film festivals like this are important for Canada and especially Vancouver?
Nowadays, even with the digital revolution, it's actually not easy for viewers to get access to independent productions. And festivals like this in particular, which allow independent producers to show their films and for viewers to experience some of the perhaps more sensitive and edgy subject matters you can't find in a lot of the mainstream productions. This is our Canadian premiere, so I hope being based in Vancouver, we can have more local audience coming out and support us.
I was diagnosed with aplastic anemia when I was 11 years old in 1993. They also said your best shot at a long-term survival is through a bone marrow transplant. And that's when ethnicity came into play.
Why don't you start off by giving us a little rundown on what this story is all about?
Sure, so I made a film called Mixed Match, and the film looks at why it's more difficult for multiracial people to find bone marrow donors, along with people of particular ethnic minority groups. And it just becomes more complex as we mix our DNA, as well as there's just not enough sort of minorities and multi-ethnic people on bone marrow registries. So we're trying to create awareness about this.
It's not that, oh, it's just, if you're Asian, it's harder to get a match. No, it's just that there are less Asians on the registry. Then you take mixed race people, and there's like no one on the registry.
You are nominated for Best Canadian Feature. How does that feel?
Oh, it's great. It's, I think it's a new category this year at VAFF, and I'm really excited to sort of see that VAFF is creating more categories for filmmakers to win awards, because awards do really help when you're an independent film to help gain kind of notoriety and clout amongst, you know, the film festival world, but not just that, but it also is good for distributors and such. VAFF has supported almost every film I've ever made, going all the way back to 2005. So I think this might be the 6th or 7th film I've had at VAFF. And so they've been incredibly supportive. They played my first feature-length film, One Big Hapa Family, which looked at why all of my Japanese family married Caucasians. And they played that in 2010 as the closing night film. So to be at VAFF is always a great honor, but it's just they're a really good core group of grassroots volunteers that are very passionate about what they do. And so it's a real treat to always be a part of VAFF.
If you'd like any more info on the festival, you can head to vaff.org. For City Lights on Novus TV, I'm Kristine Wilson.